Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about a dragon level monster from One Punch Man that you might not be aware of. And those of you who are really familiar with my channel, especially you OG subs out there, definitely know who this guy is because I have made a video covering the story that he is a part of. However, I don't have that video up anymore on my channel. I'm going to have to remake it. But anyway, I'm talking about the monster known as Energizer, and he's coming from the third audiobook, Sonic Becoming Saitama. So that being said, there is no visuals of this monster, meaning that all of the images that I am using in this video to depict Energizer are not of him. They're coming from the manga Monster of Earth, which was like essentially a one-shot manga written by One and illustrated by Murata, One, and the Street Fighter artist Nishimura Kinu. So since there are no images of Energizer out there, I feel it's fitting to use Murata's artwork to depict him. And the monster that I am using is just, some random monster from Monster of Earth. But it kind of does look fitting to what Energizer would be. So in the third audiobook, Sonic Becoming Saitama, Sonic dresses up as Saitama in order to find out more things about him in order to defeat him. And he winds up going to the Hero Association to gather more information, but he actually winds up stealing some secret documents from them instead. And in these documents, he finds out about a dragon level monster hiding out in Z City by the name of Energizer. But we also find out earlier in the story that the Hero Association has tasked Tatsumaki and Atomic Samurai to personally go out and take care of this guy. So just these three bits of information are already establishing that Energizer is a pretty big deal. Okay, so we're finding out that he, first of all, lives in Z City, and that is like the prime location for powerful monsters, because this is like the ghost town that Saitama lives in. Only beastly guys like Saitama can actually live there because of the powerful monsters that are rumored to live there. We're finding out Energizer is one of them. So second of all, his existence is a straight up secret in the Hero Association, and that you're going to have to steal documents to even find out about him. And then third of all, they are sending Tatsumaki and Atomic Samurai to go after him. So normally you'd think Tatsumaki should be enough to take care of a monster, even like a dragon, but no, we're still sending Atomic Samurai just in case. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into his abilities. So Energizer, as his name implies, is like an energy-based monster. He apparently has a limitless stock of energy which he can compress into his hands and emit into beams. So yes, he is very similar to Vaccine Man, but it is specifically stated that he has beams, as where Vaccine Man kind of has those spheres that he can throw. So I don't know if this necessarily makes him more formidable than Vaccine Man. Is a beam better than a sphere? It's really personal preference, I guess. And I'm not entirely sure if his damage output is any greater, as we don't really get too much emphasis on the amount of damage that he's creating in this audiobook. But since he is a dragon, we can assume that maybe he is around the same level of damage output as Vaccine Man. So Energizer only really fights Sonic. He kind of does run into Saitama, but we'll talk about that later. So when he is fighting Sonic, we're kind of finding out that he isn't necessarily on the speed level of Sonic, but his fighting abilities kind of make up for that, as he blows up the surrounding area, and this stifles Sonic's movements and makes him unable to fight in close quarters with Energizer. Energizer can also blow away Sonic's exploding shurikens, and it's kind of implied that he can tank them as well. Not too sure, because like I say, we're not really getting too much context since it is an audio book, and I'm only really going off of the translations, which are graciously provided by HDX514, by the way. But regardless, it is heavily implied that Sonic is really nothing compared to Energizer, and this isn't really too much of a surprise, as we've seen that Sonic isn't really on the level of a dragon. I mean, I personally estimated him to be around a high demon, maybe above demon in my How Strong is Sonic video. But we also saw that when he ran into Gale, and once he went into his dragon form, Sonic essentially crapped his pants. So, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that, Energizer is for sure above Sonic. Also, it's implied that it kind of takes time for him to charge up his energy beams, as when Sonic is talking to Saitama, he says, "You must prevent this guy from accumulating energy." So I guess this is implying that he can't just straight up like spam his energy, similar to how Overgrown Rover spams his energy fire blast. So I think we can scale him below Rover in the output department. Also, when Energizer is fighting against Sonic, he says, "It's about time I end this fight and go into hiding. As strong as I am, fighting Tatsumaki is still far too risky." So this for sure, I guess, is scaling him below Tatsumaki. And, I wasn't necessarily going to scale him above her anyway, but, this is giving us a good reference that, he is a powerful dragon, but he's not necessarily on the level of Tatsumaki. But I think this is also letting us know that maybe Energizer scales above Atomic Samurai, since he's not really concerned with him, because he is aware that Atomic Samurai and Tatsumaki are coming after him because he has relayed this information by Sonic when he first meets him. But he's just talking about Tatsumaki here. So we can assume that he doesn't really care about Atomic Samurai. And I don't think that's too far of a stretch because, what could Atomic Samurai really do to Energizer? Of course, he does have the Atomic Slash. But as we've seen, Energizer can deal with the fast enemies. And I'm not really sure what Atomic Samurai could do against his energy blasts. But, that's a whole other topic for another time. But I'm just going off of the context that we have here. So now let's get into his durability. And like I said, it's kind of implied that he is tanking the exploding shurikens from Sonic. Not too sure about that because of the audiobook after all. But he is punched by Saitama. And it isn't stated that he takes multiple punches here, so we could assume that he is taking one punch, meaning that he is not in the highest tier of durability. I'm not going to go into spoiler stuff, but those of you who know what happens later on are aware that Energizer is not quite in that tier. But regardless, Energizer is extremely powerful as he pushes Sonic to the brink of death. In fact, he would have killed Sonic if Saitama didn't show up, meaning that he is defeating an S-class level guy here, making him extremely formidable. I mean, yeah, he is a dragon after all. So, yeah, that's Energizer, the dragon level monster that you might not have known about, and that's unfortunately because he's hidden away in the third audiobook, and it's really unfortunate that these great stories like this and the virtual genocide simulation are only really regulated to these things because they would make awesome bonus chapters or maybe even OVAs. But hey, maybe one day we'll get to see them made. So don't worry, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I will give you what my own estimated disaster level on this guy is. So, all the factors I've been talking about in this video, he is clearly above Sonic, not necessarily in the speed department. He's below the highest level of durability, but he scales maybe above Atomic Samurai, so we've got that on him, and he's got the energy projection, which is at a dragon level. So we can assume these are likely as strong as Vaccine Man's energy spheres were, meaning that these things, or should I say his beams, could bust cities. And I don't think that's too far out of the realm of possibility, because remember, the surface definition of disaster level dragon is a threat to multiple cities. And also, this guy has a limitless stock of the energy. And yes, we have established that it likely takes him, a little bit of time, maybe some seconds to gather his energy, but still, this is pretty damn powerful for a dragon level monster. He's also kind of intelligent, I suppose. I mean, he was aware that Tatsumaki would likely be able to beat him, so he's not overzealous like a lot of the other monsters that we have seen. He's not completely full of himself. He was also able to shut down the quicker opponent in Sonic by destroying the surrounding area, completely nullifying close quarters combat. We saw Tank Top Master do this against Garrow. So I guess this equates to his intelligence, which is important if we're comparing him to the other monsters, especially the dragons. I mean, all of this together, I'm assuming that he's got to be at least a mid-dragon. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a high dragon because, You know, that's a little outrageous considering the amount of information that we have on him, and his feats aren't really too crazy or anything like that. So I think mid-dragon is fitting for him. I think calling him a low dragon would be, you know, lowballing him. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about Energizer. Where do you think he falls on the scale? Do you think he's more formidable than Vaccine Man? Also, I am going to remake the third audiobook video. You know, I had some issues with the original video. I'm not really sure if I should keep it up or not. So I'm just going to remake it, you know, do a better one, and make it more suitable for YouTube, I'll say. But other than that, if you like the video, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It starts at $2, and it gives you access to a Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.